to speak to other teams about potential contracts. Those talks eventually led the two sides back to each other. In their 4 years together, Stafford has led LA to 3 playoff appearances and that Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 56. Senior NFL insider Adam Schefter joins us now from the Combine with the latest. So, Adam, what more can you tell us about how the two sides came to an agreement to move forward together?
Well, Hannah, this is a long-running saga that's been going on in recent weeks. And once the Rams gave Matthew Stafford permission to solicit offers from other teams, he went out and found there was more money in the market. The Raiders were interested. The Giants were interested. The Steelers were interested. Other teams were interested. But ultimately, in the end, when push came to shove and other teams at various points came close to trying to entice the Rams into making a trade, ultimately, Matthew Stafford didn't want to leave Los Angeles, and the Rams didn't want him to leave Los Angeles. And both sides decided that they were better off sticking with each other than going their separate ways. So ultimately, they agreed to that restructured deal. Matthew Stafford arrived in the Rams facility at about 6:30 a.m. Pacific Coast time, 9:30 Eastern. They went into meetings all day and agreed to move forward despite any of the talks that have occurred with other teams, any trade proposals that have been had with other teams. The Rams and Stafford decided to run it back for at least another season.
And so at least another season, that's all we know, I guess, at this point, right, about the length of the deal. So at least another season. But let me ask you this. This is the first big domino to fall, as we all know. So you mentioned a few teams. You mentioned the Giants, you mentioned the Raiders, and you mentioned the Steelers, all in need of a quarterback. What does this mean for them going forward? What should or could we expect?
Well, Hannah, I think everybody was waiting to see what would happen with this particular situation and how the Matthew Stafford situation played out. Now that he's back with the Rams, other teams can do what they need. Every one of them was waiting to see if there was a chance they would get Matthew Stafford. Now that the Raiders haven't, they can pursue other avenues, including potentially maybe Russell Wilson. The Giants are going to explore other veteran quarterback options that include Aaron Rodgers staying in the New York area. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been talking to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields all along. So now that we know that Matthew Stafford is staying with the Rams, these other teams can go ahead and start making their quarterback plans. But everybody was waiting for the Matthew Stafford domino to fall. Now that it's fallen, these other teams' quarterback offseason activities will begin to pick up.
Aaron Rodgers staying in the New York area. Just can't imagine the frenzy of following that story. But Matthew Stafford, we know, at least one more year in L.A. They certainly would have been a worse team, regardless of anything, had he walked out the door. Adam Schefter, thank you.
Hey, Hannah, since the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford ahead of the 2021 season, he has been among the elite quarterbacks in the league, ranking in the top 10 in QBR, touchdowns, and yards per attempt. He's also gotten it done in the playoffs, winning 5 games as a starter, and again punctuated by winning Super Bowl 56. Mike Tannenbaum joining us now to break down the news. Mike, as a former GM, what do you think of the move?
It's an absolute no-brainer. This is an absolute marriage of convenience for both sides. They were 20 yards away from being the Philadelphia Eagles last year. And at 37 years old, if I'm Matthew Stafford and I'm being protected at the 6th best rate in the NFL, Jay, I'm going absolutely nowhere. We're a young, productive team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Our window to win is right now. And if I'm the Rams, what am I going to do? Look at Aaron Rodgers, who's 4 years older, and even though he played well a year ago, why would we mess with something that's working? So I think this is something that made sense for both sides.
Yeah, what would the alternatives have been for the Rams had they not gotten this done?
Yeah, Jay, you're in a win-now mode with this team, so I think Aaron Rodgers had to go to the top of that list. And if I'm Sean McVay and Les Snead, Jay, I'm saying I got Matthew Stafford at 37, who's playing really good football, and I got Aaron Rodgers, who at the end of the season is going to be 42 years old, who just doesn't move nearly as well. So when I look at Stafford and Rodgers back-to-back, this is a no-brainer for the Rams. Look, they had to bump up his salary, which he deserved. But again, what's best for them? Let's keep it the nucleus together, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and let's go beat Philadelphia in 2025.
All right, Mike Tannenbaum, you stay right there. Let's go back over to Hannah.
Jay, one major piece of business already done at the Combine underway in Indianapolis. Now, some top prospects met the media today, and we're going to hear from many of them throughout the hour. Let's start with Shedeur Sanders, new on SportsCenter.
I'm the most guaranteed person you could take because I've done it. You know, it's like a stock. You see the stock, going up, you're like, okay. I see what it's done, so might as well invest into it. So I'm the best stock you could get.
I love it. And then is there a team so far that's been your favorite that you've met with?
Nah, not really. They're all different, and they're all, really funny at the same time. They all different. They all funny because they always ask, how you going to feel when Dad's not your coach? It's like, good. Now it'll be a little bit easier Dad's not the coach.
Certainly has his dad's personality. As Jordan Reed and Mike Tannenbaum is back with us live from the Combine. Jordan, let me start with you because obviously Shedeur is not throwing tomorrow. So for these teams looking for a quarterback at the top of the draft, we were just talking about the Giants, the Raiders. They have picks 3 and 6 respectively. What would they get from Sanders in particular?
Well, they're getting somebody that's extremely polished from the pocket, and that's where he specializes in. We're talking about somebody that had a 74% completion percentage last season, which was the best in the FBS. But the ball placement and the accuracy that Shedeur plays with, that is over redeeming quality. He's going to give you somebody that's an experienced leader. And you have to remember, he changed and turned around every program that he's been at, which is something that he talked about today, whether it was at Jackson State, at Colorado. He was able to have a profound impact at both of those programs. So I look for him to be a leader, but his game revolves around his accuracy and his ball placement.
So, Mike, given everything that we've just heard, Jordan's assessment and your own, what do you think is the best NFL fit for him?
Vegas Raiders to be mentored by Tom Brady, to be coached by Chip Kelly. I think over time that would be an outstanding fit. Now, short term, maybe it's Gardner Minshew, but some veteran that could certainly show him the way. And the one concern I have about Shedeur Sanders, and I really agree with what Jordan just said, he was sacked 94 times the last 2 years of Colorado. Now, in part, they had a terrible offensive line, but if he got sacked 94 times at this level, he would not last very long. So if he didn't play right away, that would give him a chance to get a little bit stronger, a little bit more durable. But he has compelling upside, and long-term, to be coached by Pete Carroll, mentored by Tom Brady, that's an ideal fit for Shedeur Sanders.
Real quickly, how good is that offensive line, do you think, right now in Vegas, or does it need some work?
Yeah, Hannah, it's a great point. It's a work in progress. They got a couple of pieces, but they're going to need to play better. And offensively, Brock Bowers is the one foundational piece they have. They need to add a few more pieces to a good young quarterback.
Hard to put those good offensive lines together, and it makes such a difference. You two stand by. Love talking to y'all from Indy. This is so much fun today. And coming up, we have lots of other folks at the mic like Cam Ward and Ashton Genty. Our coverage of Combine continues for the next hour on Sports.